I think the basic fact is, since 1991, Ukraine's democracy has had a checkered history, but it's made gradual progress, especially since the 2014 Maidan revolution of dignity. And the basic fact is that because Ukraine and Russia are close countries and culturally close, not just geographically close, the example of a successful democracy in Ukraine is potentially very threatening to Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, and his ability to control his country as an autocratic ruler. So Putin, I believe, would be motivated to want to suppress Ukrainian democracy by manipulation or by force, regardless of anything that the United States and NATO did. However, the NATO issue is not irrelevant. It is, I believe, a real one, because that's not a goal. The goal of suppression of Ukrainian democracy, for that reason, is not something he could sell to the Russian people. It's very natural for the Russian people to be concerned about the possibility of Ukraine being part of a military alliance that would, to put it one way, enable foreign forces like Americans and Germans to freely locate within a day's drive of the battlefield of Stalingrad. When you put it that way, you can see how that could be a hot button issue in Russian politics. And in April 2008, the United States led NATO in expressing an opinion that Ukraine should someday join NATO. And that has given something that Putin could use to depict the actions of an independent Ukraine in joining NATO as an implicit threat to Russians, not just to his regime, but to the Russian nation. And that's been very useful for him and in mobilizing support. And without that, I'm not sure that his personal preference for suppressing Ukrainian democracy would have worked.
Let me just make one quick observation, which is that on NATO expansion, which is that there was some debate in the 1990s when it first began to expand and the first tranche came. And after that, there was really very little debate either about the security commitments that NATO was undertaking or what the Russian response might be. So as a result, we brought in a lot of countries thinking that, sort of a larger NATO would be a better NATO. It's a little like the UN, it would increase European security, have everybody inside the tent. And then, one day we wake up and find out that Russia is very opposed to this. And we've now made security commitments in case of NATO to the Baltic countries, which are extremely vulnerable, and now have said, as Roger pointed out, that Ukraine and Georgia, the country of Georgia, would also become members of NATO at some point, although we never really established a mechanism for that.